today we're going to talk about the essay writing. I'd like you to recap what task response is. So what does it mean?
Task response, you mean this things which is being evaluated? You mean,
Yeah. I mean evaluation points, like the marks, that you are going to be given.
Task response means that, like, if I did the task in the right way.
Basically, if we're talking about the essay writing, it means if you answered the question appropriately, it means did you stick to the point? Did you present all your ideas and opinions throughout the whole essay? Did you answer the question specifically, or you got sidetracked? So you need to stick to the question and try to exactly understand what they asked you, and also to develop your answer. Give examples, conclusions. What about the coherence and cohesion? What does it mean?
I think it means something about the way I'm trying to explain my thoughts. They are right grammatically and not grammatically. There is a grammar point, but
coherence and cohesion, actually, it's the main thing is you should organize your ideas logically. And it's how you organize your paragraphs, how you link your ideas. If you use those signal words as first, firstly, or to conclude, if you use conjunctions as but, however, so if you use linking devices, how you link your ideas together. And we have two more points, which are grammar and vocabulary. So yeah, these are separate points. So don't forget about all these things. How much time will you be given for the writing task overall? Let's remember this.
If I'm not wrong, I have an hour for those two tasks. I mean, I have about 20 minutes for writing task 1. And for the second one, maybe 40 minutes.
Okay, so today we will take a look at opinion essay, and I will guide you through all these points, through the plan, and we're going with you to start writing. And here we have the essay question, and I'd like you to read this question aloud for me, please.
The first impression is often the most important one. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement?
Yeah, use specific reason and examples to support your opinion, which is very important, that you give the reasons and you give examples to support them. So first, during the exam, you see the question, and the first thing that you have to do is actually you need to think if you agree or you disagree with this. So what's your opinion on this question?
I agree, actually.
Okay. So the next thing is you need to do is you need to think why you agree, and you need to think about the body paragraphs of your essay, which means you need to think about the reasons why the first impression is important one. And before we go on, I'd like you to think about these ideas. So let's generate ideas when the first impression can be important or why. So what ideas do you have right now?
So according to these images, for example, first impression could be very important in both spheres of our life. I mean, in career and in personal life.
Great. Here you can see the first picture represents employment and professional sphere, as you said. So we have job interviews, communication with clients and coworkers, as you said. And the next one, social life. There's exactly the same what you said. Making new friends, meeting new people, and so on. So these ideas are very important because you will put them into your main paragraphs, which are called body paragraphs. And as you may notice, the first body paragraph can be about employment and professional sphere, and the second body paragraph can be about social life. Here, why these first impressions are crucial in these spheres. So whatever the topic is going to be, you need to think about the main ideas and how to put them, how to divide them into a paragraph and describe them in different paragraphs. So now let's go to the plan. So the first thing that goes into our plan is our introduction. Mm-hmm. So you need to write down the first paragraph introducing the essay, the topic, and what you're going to write about. Then you can either indent the paragraph by leaving some space before you start writing, or you can just skip one line, so you skip a line between paragraphs, so to show that you have those paragraphs. So then you need to write down your body paragraph. The first one is, as we said, about employment and professional sphere, in our current topic. Then goes the second body paragraph. So we agreed to write about social life. And then you need to write down your conclusion. We summarize the ideas that we presented in the essay. So you need to summarize them. So now we're going to take a look at the introduction more closely. So here, again, we go over how to write down the introduction. So first we write a general statement on the topic. Then we need to write the prompt in our own words. The prompt, this is this main question. For example, in our case, the first impression is often the most important one. So then you need to state your opinion and tell the reader what you're going to write about. So here we have the 3 key features of the introduction. Since you will have a limited time during the exam, you will not have enough time to think a lot, and you need to have this plan in your mind. So if you stick to this plan, if you have it in your memory, you will not have just to spend lots of time thinking, oh, what I'm going to write about in my introduction, so what do I have to do? So just stick to the plan. And here we have a sample. I'd like you to read this introduction, but the thing is that this introduction is not correctly organized. The sentences are not in the correct order. I'd like you to take 2 minutes and try to organize it correctly. Just think how you would need to reorganize them, okay?
Just to change these sentences, change their places here.
Yeah, you need to put them into the correct places, but you don't need to write, just think about it.
So first it is generally believed that people evaluate each other all the time.
Great.
Second is therefore our behavior, emotions, speech and outfit have a great impact on others, especially when we meet for the first time. And the third one is I completely agree with the statement that first impressions are crucial because they can affect us professionally and socially.
Yeah, actually great. So it's correct. Let's look at these answers. So let's again summarize these points of the introduction. So the first thing is, will you help me? Can you read it for me?
Write a general statement on the topic.
So in here we have this general statement, that you have already read. So then what do we do?
We rewrite the prompt in your own words.
So, and you can see, this prompt. And then
state your opinion and tell the reader what are you going to write about.
And here you can see, this sentence. So now we're going to practice this a little bit. And now we're going to write down our introduction. So let's again try to remember the first thing that we need to do. So what kind of sentence do we have to write in our introduction? So first we have
general statement.
Great. So general statement, it's something very general. So for example, if you write about let's say junk food. So do you agree that junk food should be forbidden, for example, or that you should eat only healthy food? So the general statement on the topic would be something very general, like every day we have to choose food, or all people have to eat every day. So something very general. So what goes next?
To rewrite the prompt in our own words.
So the prompt is this actual sentence. Yeah, the first impression is often the most important one. So the prompt is what you see. Yeah, so this is what you see. Now I will give you some words. So introducing other people's ideas and argument. This is very useful for our introduction because these expressions will help you score higher. So if you use them, will you read it aloud?
Some animals, a majority of people, psychologists, experts suggest, believe, claim, take a view.
Take the view that.
It can be argued that. It is often, usually, sometimes claimed, suggested, said that. Is are generally, often believed, claimed, thought to be.
And an example just to feel how to use this construction. Will you please read it?
Women are often thought to be better at multitasking than men.
Okay. So, Nanik, what I'd like you to do is I give you maximum 4 minutes, and I'd like you to write down minimum 2 sentences now. So can you now write a general statement on this topic? And in your general statement, try to use something very abstract. And then I'd like you to rewrite this prompt. The first impression is often the most important one, in your own words. And please try to use some of these sentences to express other people's ideas, okay? So just take 4 minutes maximum. Try to do it quickly.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a look at your introduction. Can you read it aloud to me, please?
Yes. Our life directly depends on communication with other people. People are social, at least a little. It is usually claimed that first impression is often the most important one.
All right, so it's a very nice introduction, but with little nuances that we're going to correct a little bit, okay? So our life directly depends on communication with other people. It's okay, so only we have a lack of some linking device here. What do you think? How is it better to link these ideas together? Not just with a comma, but with some linking device. So what do you think should be done with this sentence?
I don't know.
So our life directly depends on communication with other people. You can write down because, for example, Can you please now edit your introduction? Don't write in a separate sentence, so that because we need to have the whole picture. You have 3 dots here. You can press them, and you can click on edit and edit the introduction, please. Okay.
Okay. Good people are social. Something like that.
Great. All right. Not to repeat people, try to change the word people the second time when you use it.
Maybe just say. Yeah.
Yeah, now it sounds, it looks much better. So it is usually claimed that first impression is often the most important one. The sentence is fine. Only if we go back to our prompt sentence in the essay, it's actually exactly the same. Just I'd like you to paraphrase it more. Just give it a try and paraphrase it a little bit.
Something like that.
May could influence a lot in our future relationships. Yeah, it's much better. Only just we have to edit it a little bit more in terms of some words. Just let's check it. Sonic, I actually didn't notice one little mistake. It is usually claimed that the first impression, the first, the second. Could you just made a little typo, without one O, you wrote double O, just, I understand that it was just a typo. Could influence, when you use influence as a verb, you don't need to use any preposition, so could influence something, so try to correct yourself.
It's like a lot.
You can put it just at the end. Reorganize it a little bit and use a lot at the end of the sentence, and it will go fine. Yeah, now it's great. So will you read now the 2 sentences again?
Yes, our life directly depends on communication with other people, because we're social, at least a little. It's usually claimed that the first impression we make could influence our future relationships a lot.
Yeah, now it's perfectly fine. So the next step that we need to do is in our introduction, we need to tell the reader what we are going to write about, actually now body paragraphs. And if you remember, we're going to write down about 2 spheres where first impressions are crucial: employment, professional sphere, and social sphere. So this is the next step. Now I'd like you also to write this 1 sentence, but I would also like you to use some expressions which introduce our own arguments and opinions. Can you read the first one, please?
I personally tend to think, feel, believe that. I personally agree with the statement that.
Okay.
In my opinion, from my point of view. My personal feeling, belief, opinion, view, point of view is that. I would take the view that. I personally would argue, suggest that. I completely agree with the view, idea, suggestion that.
Great, thank you. So now, Nick, take only 2 minutes maximum. Write down please 1 sentence. You need to use some of these expressions. So you need to say if you agree with the statement, and then mention briefly the main topics of your body paragraphs, sorry, which are these two spheres, okay? So try to do it in 2 minutes. All right, will you read it for me, please?
Yeah, I completely agree with the idea that first impression magic is in both sides of our life, and sometimes influences career and decides our social life.
We have to make some little corrections. I completely agree with the idea that, again, don't forget about the first impression, okay? Just put the article before the first.
Yes.
So the first impression magic is, you use magic here as a noun, yeah? So I would recommend saying the magic of the first impression. So the magic of the first impression. Is on both sides of our life. You can say, just to change it a little bit to make it more clear, is often present in both sides of our life. And also, you know, Nick, when you have this word in both sides of our life, it actually implies that you should have mentioned those sides before. But since you haven't done this, you should change it a little bit. Like, try to change the word both. Try to
in two sides of our life.
Yeah, great. And I'm sorry, Jan, to interrupt you. Since then you use a comma and then you say it sometimes influences career and decides our social life, I would rather do it like this: is often present in such sides of our life as career and social life, just like this.
In such.
Yeah. And since we have life, you can say in such spheres as career and social life. Yeah. Yeah, now it's pretty nice. And this is actually our introduction. Can you read the whole introduction, please, again, okay? The whole one.
Our life directly depends on communication with other people, because we are social, at least a little. It's usually claimed that the first impression we make could influence our future relationships a lot. I completely agree with the idea that the magic of the first impression is often present in such spheres as career and social life.
Yeah, super. I really like our introduction. What about you? It looks nice, yeah.
After your corrections, of course.
No, but the ideas were yours. Now I'd like you to look at our introduction again, and let's very quickly recap all the steps. So the first sentence, what did we do?
First sentence is a general statement.
The next one is?
Second is to rewrite a prompt in our own words.
And then?
Third one, like if I agree with the statement. And a little introduction to the body paragraphs I'll mention.
Yeah, very good. All right. And now we need to jump into our first body paragraph. And our first body paragraph starts with the reason why you think the first impression is important. You need to say why exactly. And you need to present actually this reason first. Then you need to extend this reason by giving some explanations, then examples, Actually, it can be enough. But the other thing that you could do is to make a little closing of the first paragraph, but it's optional actually. Like if you can do it, it would be great. So now based on these points, we have some sentences, but they are in a jumbled order. Take a minute and try to organize them correctly, just orally, don't write anything.
Mm-hmm. First will be to begin with.
Great.
Yeah, first impressions affect your future employment.
Okay.
And as almost all people will have a job interview at some point in their lives where they will be given a chance to impress a potential employer.
Great.
Third one is, for instance, if during such a meeting you were in a bad mood, wearing scarfy clothing, and were not able to convey your thoughts properly, it would be absolutely unlikely that the interviewer would want to see you in their team.
All right.
And the first one is, consequently, you mustn't lose the opportunity of making an excellent first impression by putting on smart clothes, being friendly, and speaking intelligently.
Great. All right. So let's recap again these points. So the first thing that you do is you give the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Then goes
Explanation.
Yeah. Then we have
Example.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And finally,
The closing.
Yeah, again, this closing can be optional. So if you cannot, during the exam, you cannot think about any closing of the paragraph. I mean, I don't speak about the conclusion of the whole essay. Yeah, like if we're talking about the paragraph, it's okay. Don't worry. You don't have to include this closing. It's just optional. If you can, that would be just great. Now, we're going to do our body paragraph number 1. And first, we will give the reason number 1 and explanation to this reason. So let's remember our first reason. So why do you agree that first impressions are important? So what was the first reason we were talking about?
So, yeah, in first body paragraph, it was about career.
Yeah. So here we have some ideas where these impressions can be important. Will you read all these things that you can see now in the presentation?
Yeah. Job interviews, communication with clients or co-workers, presentations, conferences, business trips.
Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to start our paragraph by presenting this first reason. And I will share with you some words. Can you read them, please?
To begin with, first of all, the main reason why is. One of the main reasons why is.
All right. So now I'd like you to write down only one sentence. Just to present the reason. And I'd like you to use these words or phrases, which are called signal words, which are very important for the essay. So just start the first body paragraph. Only one sentence in 2 minutes. All right, so will you read it for me, please?
Yeah. First of all, our professional sphere is full of decisive first impressions.
Decisive.
Decisive.
So we presented the first reason, and the next step is we need to give a little explanation. I'd like you to think about the explanation that you could add to your reason. just explain where can we think about these first impressions, job interviews, presentations, conferences, business trips. So where would they play a role? Can you extend your first sentence by giving a little explanation to this in one sentence?
In the first sentence, or in the second one? I mean, to write another sentence?
Yeah, you can write another sentence, or if you want, and you can do that, you can extend the first sentence, it's okay. So you can write a separate one or just make the first sentence more extended. Yeah, can you read this for me, please?
Yeah. Communication with clients needs you to be friendly and not to show any annoyance, because customer links your company products or services with you.
I'm not sure that it's actually a nice idea to say it like links your company products or services with you. Maybe it's better to paraphrase this word somehow in this context. Can you think about other ways to say this links your company products or services with you?
Associate.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Associates.
Your company products with you.
Yeah, can you please correct this?
Just check my spelling of associate.
Yeah, the spelling is okay, but associates.
Yeah.
And also customer, maybe let's say customers, then associate. Just put customers.
Yeah. Customers, associates.
Associate, yeah, then it's all right. We wrote the reason, we wrote the explanation to the reason. Then the next step is to give a nice example. So here I have some ideas for you. So we have some words. Of course, when we first, we want to make the first impression, we have some things that we have to pay attention to. For example, speech, body language, mood, clothes, hairstyle, our attitude. And here you have lots of different adjectives. I'd like you to take 1 minute and tell me if you are familiar with all these words, if there are any that you do not know.
Yeah, I have some questions. So neat.
So neat, it's when you can talk about clothes. For example, your shirt can be neat, your outfit, your clothes can be neat. It means very well organized, so it looks fine on you, it's clean.
And what is untidy?
Untidy? It's actually when, for example, you can come in a white shirt, but it can be dirty, or it can have some spots on it. Yeah, so not clean, for example.
So, and rambling?
Rambling, it's when you speak and your speech is disorganized and you got sidetracked all the time. So actually you're communicating with a person, but you don't understand what the person is talking about. So you don't understand the idea of what the person is saying.
Oh, and transparent?
Transparent, it's when you are open to people, you are not reserved, you can share your thoughts, ideas, so honest, friendly.
And reserved is?
Reserved when you are too shy and you don't show what you are thinking about, so you don't speak too much about yourself, you try to keep your ideas and feelings inside.
Okay.
So since we don't have enough time during our lesson to finish the whole essay, it's going to be your homework. So we have 2 spheres, yeah? Employment sphere, social life. We started to write the essay, we wrote the introduction. We started writing the first body paragraph. You will need to write down the first body paragraph till the end. Yes, so you need to give examples, and you need to close the paragraph if possible, if you can. You will need to write down the second body paragraph, which is social life. So it's how we make new friends, when we meet new people, in our real life situations. And then the final step, you need to write down the conclusion to the whole essay. And let's go over our plan. So introduction, we have body paragraph number 1, you need to finish. Body paragraph number 2, you need to write the whole paragraph, and then you need to write down the conclusion. And stick to the plan while writing your ideas and presenting your ideas. I'm going to send you the most important slides from our presentation. And I also would like you to use these signal words to begin with, or the second reason is, for example, I'd like you to write the words to introduce your opinion and other people's opinions. And all these words you will have in the slides that I'm going to send you, okay? I will also send you a video on how to write essays. So this will help you to finish. So, and the topic of the essay I will also send you after we have finished our session, okay? So your homework is to write down the whole essay. This time, so since we're only practicing, you don't need to you don't need to limit yourself in terms of the time. Just for this first time, I want you to think about the organization, think about the words, check everything. Don't think about the time, okay, too much. So thank you for your work, and I'll see you tomorrow then. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye, Nick.